Hey YouTube, I'm going to go over my old computer collection over the next few videos, and I'm also probably going to talk a little bit about some of the other computer stuff I've done. I work both with old and newer computers, relatively new, not extremely new. But I'm going to start with going over my older computers, and in this video I'm just going to kind of give a general overview of my network system and the different computers I have, but I will dedicate videos to each computer over time. So first of all, the one that's actually on right now is it's running Windows 98, and it will at one point be dual booting 98 and Windows NT4. It's this one. It is a Compaq. I don't know what the writing is on some of these. I gotta see if I can take like a magic eraser or something to it and get it off. But anyway, this has about 98 megabytes of RAM, and it's about a 2.5 gigabyte hard drive. It has two CD drives, a 5.25-inch floppy and a 3.5-inch floppy. And it is connected to the network. This is an HP Vectra 500 series. It's not on right now. It's running Windows 3.11 for workgroups. It's also networked. It has a roughly 500 megabyte hard drive and has about 48 megabytes of RAM. It has a CD drive and a 3.5-inch floppy. This one is a newcomer to my collection. It's HP Pavilion XE746. It's made for Windows 98. I don't know much about it because I don't even think I've turned it on yet. It's a pretty recent edition, so I can't say much about it. It's supposed to run Windows 98. It does have a network card in it. Once I get the thing hooked up, I'll make a video on it. This one actually is one of my dad's old computers. It's another Pavilion. This one has, I believe it's 192 megabytes of RAM. It has a 500 megahertz Pentium 3 processor. It runs Windows 98 2nd Edition, and it is networked. If I move over here, I'm not sure, it's an Insight. I don't know a lot about it. This is another newcomer, but this one is hooked up, and I also was able to network it. I was able to find an ISA network card. So it is hooked up to my router, and I can get internet on it, although it's slow. This one, I'm not sure about the hard drive either. I think this one's right around 500 megabytes. It has 8 megabytes of RAM. It runs Windows 95. And that's about all I know about it. Oh, it's a 486 processor. I believe it's 33 megahertz. I won't talk much about these two laptops. This one runs Windows Me, and this one runs XP Home. Both of them work, but the screens are dead, so I'm not going to talk too much about those. I also have a couple of old motherboards, a Pentium 3, a Pentium 2. Up here, this is actually, and it's hooked up, it does work, this is the system board for, I believe it's a PCXT, IBM 5160. The board is about the board and the drive controller are about the only original things from that computer. The keyboard is a different keyboard, it has a different power supply, and the drives are actually from an old TRS-80. My grandfather still had the drive sitting in his basement, but he didn't have the computer that they go with, so I was able to take the drives home. Most of these computers also have sound cards. This one has a working sound card. The Compaq does, and both of the Pavilions have sound cards that work. This one has a sound card, but I haven't found a driver for it yet. I'm still working on it. But I do have speakers for most of these. In terms of the network, we have our cable modem right up here, and then this is the main wireless router for the house. All the laptops, everything connects to this. I have another router down here. This one is connected to the first router, and this one is where my network starts. That one connects to all the computers in here. And then also that's my dad's router actually. There's another cable coming out, and that goes to that switch, which does everything over in this area of the room. Most of these routers I've gotten for free. Again, the one on top is my dad's, and it's for our internet and network in the house, but the rest of these I got for free at work. They upgraded their network at work, and I was able to get these. The cables I was able to get pretty cheap on eBay, and some of them are free as well. So anyway, moving over here, I have a T199 home computer. It does work, but it's not fully connected. I don't have the right adapter for the TV right now, so I won't be showing that until I get the parts for it. This is a ThinkPad, an IBM ThinkPad 760EL. It runs Windows for Workgroups 311. It is networked with a PCMCIA network card. It has, I believe it's a 1.5 or a 1.9 gigabyte hard drive. It has 48 megabytes of RAM. The CD drive does not work, but it does have a working 3.5-inch floppy drive. This is a Gateway Solo. I forget what the specific model is. This has a 6.5 gigabyte hard drive. It has 96 megabytes of RAM. Or sorry, 6.5 gigabyte hard drive. I don't know if I said megabyte or not. 6.5 gigabyte hard drive, 96 megabytes of RAM. A working CD drive, working 3.5-inch floppy. This one, I don't know much about. It does work. This one's running MS-DOS 5.0 with Windows 2.1, I believe. It has a working 3.5-inch floppy and a working, I think it's a 40 megabyte hard drive. It does work, but I can't get the screen to work very well. The screen's in really bad shape. It does have a PS2 port, so I was able to get just a regular PS2 mouse to work with it, just with a DOS driver. It's a leading edge. I don't remember the model off the top of my head, but it does work. This is an Apple IIe. This one and the leading edge are not networked. Both of those laptops are networked. Obviously this one can't be networked. I don't have a card for it, even if they existed. This one works just fine. The power switch on the monitor is broken and it's stuck in the on position, so I have to use the power cord to turn the monitor on and off. I do have 2 drives, but they aren't the original drives that go on top. But they do both work. I don't know much about this one because I'm not a huge Apple person. I was able to just get this one for free. This is actually from a teacher of mine back in middle school. He gave that to me. That USB webcam is hooked up to a different computer. This is a PowerBook 180. Someone at my church gave this to me. I have another one in the basement. I don't know much about the PowerBook because I haven't fiddled with it much. It's running on early Mac OS and it also has Microsoft Word on it. And this is an old Dell Latitude. This one is pretty much a piece of junk. The fans barely work. But it's got a 40 gigabyte hard drive, 512 megabytes of RAM, and it runs Windows 2000. And then the only other things are this one. This is another old computer from work. It's a Dell Dimension. Runs Windows 7, Home Premium. And then this is my Media Center PC. I'll devote a whole video to this whole setup. And it's running Windows XP Media Center Edition. 80 gigabyte hard drive, 1.5 gigs of RAM. So anyway, that's it for now. I'll do a whole video on each computer or each little set of computers, so I'll see you in the next video.